Joining us in the studio from the Ohio Division of Wildlife, we've got Ted Witham. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, you guys.
So thanks for coming in and joining us. You're going to head over to Main Street TV here in a couple minutes, but we wanted to snag you for a few. So go ahead and pull that mic right down in front of your face there if you don't care. So, and yeah, it might move on you. It's got a little bit of a sagging problem, unfortunately. We're working on that. So we're working on getting a prescription for it. So, but anyway, so we're here to talk spring outdoors as people are starting to get outdoors for the season. And obviously, coming up this weekend, it's the Trout Festival, and people starting to get out and fish this year. What are some things we need to know about fishing in the area?
The big thing right now is make sure you update your fishing license if you haven't already done so. Early in the season like this, people tend to forget that. So that's a big thing right now. Also, I'd like to tell folks to be careful around the water right now. That water is still very cold. Yeah. And if you end up going out of a boat into the water, or you slip and fall into the water, it's very cold, and hypothermia is still a risk at this point in the year.
Wow.
So probably better to just do the fishing from the side right now, if at all possible.
If at all possible, I suppose.
Some people, or at least make wise decisions when you're out there, and definitely don't partake in things that would alter your state of consciousness.
Right, yeah. If you fall down, hit your head, and go into the water face down, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, so. and probably best, to, if you can, not fish alone. It's always good to have somebody with you and
always
that type of stuff.
Yeah, always have a buddy with you, particularly when you're on a boat. You never know when an emergency may come up. Either, motor failures, or somebody might not feel right. And like I said, it is still cold. Somebody goes in the water. You're going to need somebody there to probably help get you back out of that water.
Yeah, once they start laughing at you. Stop
well,
laughing. Hopefully,
once the laughing stops.
I'll be honest, even my friends that love me dearly, if I go in the water, they're going to laugh first and then go, we probably should help him. But speaking of that, like I said, the Trout Festival coming up this weekend, and I know you're not directly responsible for this per se, but they're getting ready to stock the rainbow trout over the next couple of days, so they'll be closing down the lake so they can get acclimated and get everything ready.
Correct.
But go ahead.
Well, they'll come in Friday. Mm-hmm. Farm raised trout, rainbow trout, anywhere from 10 to 13 inches on average. Roughly 2,000 of them will go in on Friday. And like you had said or alluded to, they'll close her down Friday, let those fish get acclimated to that new water, and they'll open it back up Saturday morning, and it'll be derby time.
Awesome. And then, of course, on top of that, I know we spend a lot of time talking about hunting and stuff in the fall, but we're getting ready for spring wild turkey season.
Absolutely. April 23rd is when we start down here in the southeastern part of the state, and that'll run all the way through May the 22nd this year. For all the turkey hunters out there, I always want to stress safety. That's it got to be at the foremost of your thoughts and dictate what you do. And then the big regulation change this year is we're going from 2 bearded birds down to 1 this spring. So 1 bearded bird per person per year this spring season.
And clarify, are there times that you can take the unbearded, like the female, the hens?
You can only shoot the hens in the fall season.
Okay.
We have a separate season for that.
And the reason for that is obviously hatchlings and things like that.
Yep,
right?
they will be sitting on eggs. They'll be either laying eggs, incubating eggs, or raising the poults in this spring season over that course of that month.
So
the wild turkey population, it's got a little larger around here recently, hasn't it?
Well, it has, but we are seeing here the last 2 or 3 years we've had poor reproduction. Think of days like today,
right.
Cold, windy, and rainy. That's
could be because of ex-spouses too, I suppose.
for a wild turkey, I don't know about the ex-spouses, but for a wild turkey, that's doom and gloom for particularly the hatchlings when they're still small.
Right.
This would lead. We were talking about hypothermia there a little bit earlier, but that's in effect what happens to young turkey poults. Yeah. So with the lower reproduction the last couple of years, that's why you're seeing the limit go down to 1 bird this spring. We just need a couple good springs here to get our hatching back up, our reproduction back up.
Awesome.
So as far as other things in the area, I know that wildlife-wise, what's some of the new things that we're seeing around Jackson County? Because I know when I was a kid, there was always reports of like panthers and stuff around the area. Are we having any wild, crazy things? And that's going to lead us into our next conversation, of course.
I don't know if you'd consider them such new critters or species, but as you guys are probably well aware of, our bobcat population is thriving. Our bald eagle population is through the roof now.
Good.
We're starting to see sandhill cranes that are either migrating through Jackson on their way south or coming back north. I've had several reports here in the past month of some bigger flocks, 25 plus birds that are migrating through. So yeah, we've got some newer critters that are showing up. Of course, we always get some bear reports, May, June, and July. Most of those bears, matter of fact, probably 99% of them don't stay here in Jackson. They continue on. But yeah, we've always got something showing up somewhere.
And big feet.
Yes,
say no comment?
So you're a believer? Is that what that means?
Absolutely not.
But you said I assume you probably do get calls though. Occasionally,
I do get a
stuff
handful
like
of calls occasionally, wanting to know where the best spots to go squatching are. Nothing really here in Jackson. I send people over to Guernsey County.
There you go.
That seems to be where the heart, where the grassmen, I think, is what they call them over there. But,
awesome.
So let me ask you, how long have you been in the Jackson area?
I believe this is my 16th year in Jackson.
Really?
And then I had 2 years prior to this over in southwestern Ohio.
So you spent some time with the Division of Wildlife then, and probably been around a lot. And I'm sure you guys have got to have some of the best stories out there, because I mean, being in the wilderness, there's got to be crazy things that happen. Like like for instance, saying things like mentioning Bigfoot. People see things out there. It's unexplained. They get glimpses of things. Misread. I'm sure there's some great stories. So tell me, what's the craziest thing you think you've ever encountered as far as with an individual or yourself personally?
It's hard to say. There's so many. We don't have nearly enough time here. I like you were saying, you sit out in the woods long enough and it's cold enough and you're hungry because you've been out there for 10, 12 hours. You do see some strange things, whether it's just a bird that flits through the woods. You have to sometimes stop and go, what in the world was that? And it might have just been a squirrel, that turned on a tree. There's all kinds of things out there that I've had to stop and go, what in the world was that? Or what in the world just happened? This is a family show, so we won't get into the details of some of the crazier things I've seen. But yeah, we've all got a handful of stories that we can tell.
Well, thanks for coming in this morning. I know you're heading over to Main Street TV next. If you want to continue to follow the discussion and learn a little bit more, check out the Main Street TV Facebook page. And as always, we'll have guests swinging by all the time telling who knows what kind of stories and hopefully not getting us in trouble with the things that we say to them. So it's just, or at least hopefully I don't get in trouble for something the porterhouse says. So,
or I don't get punched in the mouth.
So, hey, lots more coming up on Mix 96 FM. We've got those birthdays coming up next, right after the break here on The Crew.